Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Coach here. Hey, I'm just gonna go through a transformation process, and I got a lot of wealth of information I'd love to share. I've been doing this fitness stuff for about 8 years. First and foremost, I've never done anything like this in terms of using technology, documenting. I've been very appreciative to those that have. This seems a lot more challenging than it looks. So kind of get that out of the gate. I'm going to be learning as we go through this. All right, so 90 days. Going to do a weight loss. I'm actually going to be doing transformation. Now, in this process, I've done it a number of times. I've learned a lot. I actually wrote a nutrition kind of fitness kind of guide that I personally use, and I'm going to be using it this trip. So what I'm going to do is, rather than trying to share that bulk of information in a very, very long video, we're just going to learn one day at a time. I'm going to go over various categories and topics that are probably, have their own sides, that are debatable on what works. And so that's kind of what I'd like to do, is share my perspective and my experience in this. And also just, maybe motivate you if you're struggling or you're new to this, or maybe you have some common obstacles that are hard to overcome. I'm hoping that, maybe this is going to be a great tool for you to learn and maybe try a different approach and maybe something that's more successful. So a little bit about me. 2014, I did my first transformation. It was a success in some sense. I lost a good amount of weight, like I want to say 30 pounds in 4 months, but guess what? I reverted at some point. And right out of the gate, just having a really clean diet and learning about calories and how to track, that was really helpful. But in the end, it just didn't stay. And so I'd say until 2019, I tried a number of transformations, and they just never stuck. Well, I finally got on to something a little bit different. I decided to go with a lot more calories. I was actually trying to bulk, and I just cleaned up my content a little bit in terms of what I was putting in my body. And what I found is that I actually still lost weight, and that was without any exercise. And so all this time, part of my battle was having my calories too low. That's one of the causes there, but I think in the end, it took about 6 months to kind of really instill this whole system. There's a lot that goes with it in some senses, so it's a lot to cover. But with that said, I wanted it to be more not just for myself, but others could use it as well. So I want it to be budget friendly, time effective and efficient, and that way we have other things. We're all busy in life, right? So at the end of the day, I find this easiest for me, and kind of when I started writing this program and the system, I was thinking, how could this be universally accepted? Because in the end, it's all about behavior change and modifying habits and making better choices. So how do you do that? And sometimes it's hard to do, and so that's where a lot, I think, of the upcoming topics we're going to discuss every day is something that you can think about and maybe give a shot. So for me, this is day one. Taking my pictures. I got all my meals ready. Actually, this kind of, for me, it's going to be easy. The first 30 days, I think, is maybe easy for most. But I think that if you push too hard out of the gate right away, you're going to find that it's hard to sustain. Because if you lose the weight really fast, your body's going to want to oppose that and bring the weight back up. So for me, I'm going to change a few things this week. My caloric intake over the last, 6 months, I've been in a surplus. Average over that 6 months was about 4,500 calories a day, which seems like a lot, but I like to try and stay active. I also maybe, think that I have maybe some sort of body type that burns calories a little bit better than others, and others can put on more muscle. And that's been a struggle for me, is putting on muscle. So for this first week, because I actually surplused a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be. I got sick over the holidays. I got injuries at the end of the year last year, so I actually didn't progress as much as I wanted. But since I have a little bit of extra body fat, I'm going to run this week at about 3,000 calories, which is going to be too low, but I'm only doing that for a week just to kind of kickstart this process. For me, I'm going to be probably shooting between 3,400 and 3,500 for the first at least 6 weeks of this whole 13-week ordeal. And depending on how I'm feeling, it might be more calories. But if I'm going at a good rate and just losing what I think is fat, then I can come down just a little bit more. So I'm going to walk you through all the various struggles that I commonly come across. There's certain what I call milestones, maybe it's a 30 days in, or it's 2 months in. But basically there's going to be points where maybe our motivation starts to decrease, or we have a hard time sticking with our plan. And so we're going to cover that. And so day one's usually going to be the easiest. If you made it into day one, you had the intention the week before or the day before, and you come into day one ready to go, you got the motivation and everything you need in that sense. But for me, I just know that this week tends to be, hey, you know what? I'm only changing a couple things. I didn't change a whole lot, so my body's not going to really respond in a negative way. Primary thing I cut out is alcohol for this week. That's gone because I've had my fun the last 6 months or so. Just drinking socially or having some after work or on the weekends, just as an outlet, something else to do. That's, I know, one of the hardest things to do is get your best results with alcohol. So we're going to be cutting that out. And then I think for this week also my nutrient density is going to be higher than it's been. Obviously the calories come a little bit down, but in terms of activity and exercise, I'm not going to hit it super hard this week. A lot of walking. I'm going to be lifting some weights, but I'm really no running, nothing super strenuous, because the last thing you want out of the gate is an injury, which I've done in the past. And when you're injured, it's a lot more challenging to stay in a higher deficit and get the results. So I think that's a lot of information. I probably went a little bit too far. So that's kind of my pre-game, and I will see you tomorrow.